gallon of water in a bottle because of all of the energy that we put into manufacturing the bottle and transporting it around the world.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it's gallons more water to be able to produce a liter of Coca-Cola, you know. And you think about, you know, how precious this resource is and what we're doing with it. We really need to be more and more aware of, you know, how these resources are being used to make the products that we buy as consumers.
Yeah, you're right. Wow, this is amazing news to me.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you know, even if you look at where at the water cycle, you know, if we used to get the rain comes down, we drink the water goes back into the ground right there. It's all local. You know, now we pipe water in. You know, even if we're not bottling it in and shipping it from around the world, from the Fujis or from France or something, it comes down a pipeline from upstate. And then it comes through our faucet, and then when it goes down all the drain pipes, the sewage and everything, it goes out into the ocean. And every time it rains a quarter of an inch, you know, the sewers overflow into the water, because we're not creating. Here in Staten Island, we actually have an amazing blue belt system, which saved us millions and millions of dollars in creating these underground sewage systems, and naturally filters the water so we don't get floods in certain parts of the island like we used to. You know, the nature, the ground, the way that we worked with it absorbs all of that runoff.
So in other words, we have a natural filtration system here because of the way it is on the island here, and the water just flows down from upstate and into through this natural filtration system and out our taps.
Yeah, and I think one of the other things that we're all about with Green Bus Tour is that we're just trying to help people make decisions, you know, that are based in just respect for their connection to the planet, a connection to the earth, you know, which is, I think, why, to bring it back to maybe spirituality for a moment, is that, you know, one of the things that shamanic cultures have been talking about, you know, for ages is the connection to the land, you know, the connection to Mother Earth, you know, and how, you know, this resource is constantly giving, and allowing us this opportunity to nourish ourselves and to be alive, you know, and which is a very valuable thing.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we take it for granted in Western culture to
a
very large extent.
For granted.
You know, many people have their, you know, their base needs met very easily, you know, so often that probably a lot of us don't even remember to be thankful for the meals that we have on a day-to-day basis.
It's true.
You know, and I think that once that gratitude is reestablished, you realize the gift that you have to have all those needs met. And I think that, you know, one of the things that shamanic cultures talk about, and I think why it's coming back as a spiritual practice, is because it also shows the interconnectedness, not just between us and the earth, but between ourselves and everybody that's around us.
You know what I think a big part of the problem is, and it's coming to me as you're speaking, a lot of people are just so deeply involved in themselves and their lives. And it's okay in a way, but, and you know, and they're involved naturally, their thoughts go to their families, especially if they have children, and the kids need shoes and clothing, and the kids have to go to school, and this and that. And they're just so ingrained in all of that life stuff that they really don't take a little time out to sit and think about what we're talking about. They don't take the time to sit and say, what am I doing that's going to improve Mother Earth, or, you know, what am I doing for the planet besides taking from it?
In other words, they're not conscious.
That's right, they're not conscious.
They're not consensually thinking about it.
Yeah, and they should be, because, I mean, on a daily basis, we should be thinking about, what am I contributing? How am I making the world a better place? I always try to leave a place better than I found it.
Exactly.
You know? And that's what we should, but a lot of people don't. They will leave a place worse than they found it, and they don't care because I don't have to deal with it. I just got to walk away from it and let somebody else deal with it.
It's too convenient.
It's too convenient.
But you have to have intention. Like me and Charlie, I live with him in Staten Island.
Yeah.
And we always remind ourselves, like, we have to walk our talk. We don't open the faucet like crazy. We have a compost.
Oh,
we,
yeah. You have to be
cycle.
conservative. Sure.
We use green cleaning agents.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just discussing about using lye.
Yeah.
Lye.
Well, yeah, it's like a drain cleaner, but it's
I know.
toxic chemicals. You
Yeah.
have to be really careful with it. You
Oh
can
my
get chemical
God.
burns and everything.
Sure.
But we don't want to be putting things that are toxic into our bodies or our environment.
Right.
Like Matt was saying, going beyond like even our personal connection with the elements that are here on the earth, the water and the land, and the air. It's like those are the things that we all share. So it's our responsibility if that's something that we all share, for us to take care of those things and honor them. Mm-hmm. Instead of getting distracted. It's so easy for us to get distracted with how many technological advances and things that we see on TV and the commercials, and it's like, oh, I want the new gadget, and that's more important than the where my food's coming from, or if my water's gonna still be a resource for my children.
Right.
And so when the Native Americans, whenever they would make any decisions about the land, or about what they were doing, they would think, well, how is this going to affect us 6 generations from now?
Right. Now, you have to think that way. It's the way to think, because you have to leave the world a better place than you found it. Otherwise, why bother? It's the truth,
I think it's a good intention. I think the other question to pose is, how do we move from me to we? How do we think of our actions in this collective setting? And I think another thing to think about, our society as it is versus, say, Native Americans, who's more advanced? A lot of people say, oh, we have technology. We're Westerners. We can go to the moon. And, of course we're way more advanced. But, if you put us on the path that we're going, not changing it.
We're going to destroy ourselves.
We'd destroy ourselves a lot faster than the Native Americans would.
That's right.
You put them on their own, they found a sustainable version of life that would last them generations upon generations. If we left them
be, they'd
still be going fine.
electricity, without washing machines and television and all that kind of stuff.
Things to distract them.
Yeah. It's the truth.
And actually, one of the things that we would like to do with the Green Bus Tour is the more that it's really a movement.
Yeah.
It's a movement towards this more aware state of living.
Well,
right?
don't you feel that, heading on to 2012, people are becoming more aware?
I have faith that everybody is becoming more aware.
Yeah.
And that everybody's living out their story. The lessons that they have to learn here on the planet, and that if and my prayer is that everybody learns whatever lesson they need to learn today, and that there's a smooth transition, that everybody can learn to love each other, open their hearts.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
And it's imperative.
Yeah.
I know that it's going to happen. It's just a matter of how much we individually fight it.
Well,
that's where the suffering comes in.
Yeah.
We suffer for a reason.
And they also say that suffering is optional.
Yeah, well, it's optional if we get, there's always going to be like some sort of suffering, but that's how we grow.
That's true. It's true. I mean, like for instance, now I've had a great loss in my life, and I feel like I am suffering from it. But it's suffering that I have to do right now, and in order to move on and become stronger. So there is some necessary suffering, I guess.
Yeah.
But by and large, though, we can control how, a lot of times they say, it's not what happens to you, it's how you react to it.
Right.
And if you're reacting in a positive way so that you can take something good from whatever is happening.
Then it becomes a celebration.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You said the right words, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and everything that we do now has to be done in a sacred manner and in celebration.
Yeah.
Everything.
Well, they say that everything you do, especially in your work and your daily life, you should do it with joy.
And every action we do and decision we make affects the whole, collectively, the whole
That's true.
humanity.
Yeah. If you decide to do something good, you can have good vibrations and repercussions going down the line. It's like when you throw a rock in the water and all the ripples go out, but then they come back.
Yeah, they bounce off of something.
And
they come back.
They come back. So whatever you put out there is what you're going to attract back to yourself. So if you put out goodness and love and compassion, understanding, then that's what you're going to get back.
And back to reaction, to realize that we have the power to act or react to something, and that's a choice that we make every moment.
Yeah.
Whether to, somebody like you're in traffic, and somebody cuts you off, and you're like, ugh, you react to that.
Of course you do.
But how often does that happen? And you think,
As long as you don't act on the reaction, though.
yeah. But you still have the choice to say, oh, that's okay.
Right.
Which
Usually
is-
I blurt out something like, that was smart.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just let it go. What are you going to do? Go after the person and punch him in the nose? You can't do that.
But I mean, some people do that.
That's true. Some people do. That's right.
But if people just knew the power that we all have, to exercise free will, which is the gift that we're all given
Yes.
as human beings.
Yes.
You look at the animal kingdom and they just live, off of instinct, and they do it perfectly. But that's at the same time, that's what they do. That's all they do. But we have been given the gift to be able to look at every
intelligence.
situation
Yeah.
and realize that we can either keep living in that reactive state with nature, or we can, accept the responsibility that we've been given, the opportunity that we've been given to say, okay, I can either do this or I can create the thing that I want to create. And I think that if we have the choice, we should pick love. We should pick compassion.
Absolutely.
And then I think
Are you
things
saying,
will just
Matt,
fall.
that that's the gift of free will?
Well, yeah.
It's a way of expressing our free will, sure, to choose compassion and love, yeah.
It's free will, actually.
Actually, it is.
I think it really relates right back to what the topic of the show is with the planetary shift, and what we were talking about in the beginning with the planets and how they influence us, but they don't control us. If we can change the way that we react to them.
Right.
So in the same way, a way that we all have things that come up that are patterns. And if we want to change those patterns, the way we change them is by not reacting when it comes up. That's where our free will to make a conscious decision to act instead of react can change the patterns in our lives. That's when we transcend the pattern, is when we stop reacting to it.
Right.
Because if we keep reacting, then we keep throwing the same thing back and forth.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's like sometimes people will do the same thing over and over again, get the same result, and do it over again anyway, thinking that maybe this time I'll get a different result. Meanwhile, 100% of the time that you've been doing this, you've been getting the same result. So why do you think that by continuing to do the same thing over and over again, you're going to get something different out of it? You're not.
Well, war is a very explicit example.
That's true.
Why are we still in war?
Well, it's my understanding from a few other people that I've talked to that it's all going to come to an end and we're going to see 1,000 years of peace come 2013.
I think that's a good intention.
That's a very good intention.
I think it's
Yeah,
a
it
good
is.
story.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm believing it, actually. Maybe because in my heart of hearts I want to see it that way. I want to see the world at peace. Because if the world is at peace, then everyone in the world can get down to the business of living, helping each other, which is what we're put here for, and going on with improving their own lives and everybody else's around them.
Now, I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
I totally agree with you.
Yes.
I think it was really beautiful the way you put it.
Uh-huh.
Now, my question is, why can't we have that now in our lives individually? Why can't you choose to have that now in your life?
I do choose to have that in my life. It's just that other people don't choose to have it in their lives, and that affects our lives too.
It doesn't affect us if we don't react to it.
True. But I mean, if somebody comes and takes a baseball bat to your windshield, aren't you going to have a reaction like, what'd you do that for? And now how much is this going to cost me? And you should pay for that, but, and stuff like that,
But we think, but see, that's a scenario where, you have the thought but that's not necessarily going to happen.
Oh, no,
you know?
thank God, no, it's not going to happen.
You know, but the thing is that, sometimes we have thoughts like that. And sometimes, it just happens automatically. Like Charlie and I would be thinking about, oh wow, wouldn't it be nice to, have somebody to help us with our business plan or something like that. And then we'll just receive an email like that hour about, somebody being like, hey, can I help? I do this, that, and the other thing, And we feel that, just sometimes you put that thought out and it comes right back to you. So I think it's just important to be aware that, things don't go always perfectly, but instead of thinking about the what-if scenarios that affect us in ways that we think are negative, thinking about, wow, wouldn't it be amazing if, Charlie came back with a pint of ice cream that was organic or something, to the office,
But that could happen very easily.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sure.
like, why not think about that instead of somebody smashing your windshield?
But if that does happen, you're right. Most people would react in the way
I
that
know
you're
that
saying.
I wouldn't be happy about it.
It's and I think it's a good example, because there are things that happen to us every day and it's normal for us to have a reaction. It's important for us not to get down on ourselves.
Yeah.
And shame ourselves for having a reaction. Once we start noticing and wanting to change our reactions, it's normal for us to continue to have a reaction.
Sure.
But by noticing it, you've already done like more than half of the work. And now you just have to, every time you notice it, it's going to bother you more and more until you change the way that you react to that situation and outgrow that pattern.
Say a person is trying to improve their finances. And in order to do that, they would need a better job or a promotion or whatever. So you are saying that if they focus on believing that that's possible and that will happen, it will happen.
Well, I think it begins, like we said before, it begins with a thought, believing that it's possible, but also having a vision, like, what's your plan? Like, how are you going to create this reality? Not just expecting it to show up on your doorstep, which I think is what a lot of people
In other words,
think.
affirmations
I
aren't
may
enough.
add, together with that, it's surrendering too.
Surrendering?
Right? Yeah, you can have a vision, you have an intention, but allowing the universe to work through you and with you.
So in other words, you call the universe in. This is what
It's-
I
You
desire.
don't have to call the
This
universe
is-
in, it's always there.
It's there?
You just tap into it.
But I mean, you have to make it some kind of a conscious effort, right?
It's an intention.
Yes,
but
it's
then
an
you have. I
intention.
think what Miguel is saying is you have to surrender. You have to let go of the intention, because if you're holding on to
Yeah.
it, then you're not having
Oh, in
faith
other
that
words,
it's
so
going
you
to
say,
happen.
okay, this is what I would like to see, and here, universe, just take it, and I'm done.
And I think that you bringing up the financial situation, like wanting more money or something like that, I think that's a very common thing.
Sure it is.
So I think it's a good example.
Between that and love, that's what people
but I think
mostly.
that we also need to look at it as, okay, why do I need more? Why do I desire more than I currently have? Why do I need something different than my current situation? And it's okay, everything's going to continue to evolve. It's going to it's going to change. It's not permanent. Everything's impermanent.
Right.
But it's not about the craving and the desire for something that we don't have. Like I said, it's about appreciating what we have, and then we can continue to have more.
Mm-hmm.
And we should look at, why do I need more money? Maybe instead I just need to be spending less money frivolously. Maybe I don't need to have, for each of my 3, toddlers to have cell phones. You know what I mean? Or it's like simple things, in our lives that we can live a lot more simply.
Sure.
We don't need to have so many expenses. We don't need to have such an extravagant lifestyle. It's not that it's bad, and it's not that you can't have it, but you really, it's more of a responsibility when you do have it.
Well, that's true. That's absolutely true. The thing is that if somebody's sitting there saying, I would like more money so that I can keep up with my bills, my basic bills, there are people in that position. That just to
They
keep their
just have to adjust
electricity
their
on and
lifestyle.
their, excuse me?
They just have to adjust their lifestyle.
Well, it's even,
You know?
there are certain people out there that, are still,
They're
living
struggling
very
because
modestly.
just to get the minimum.
They've cut down a lot.
Yeah.
But, I know a lot of people who are, on food stamps and
Right.
just, getting
Just getting by.
minimum wage.
Yeah.
And it's something, I think, when you can be thankful for that, it changes the
actually
whole
have
perspective.
that much going
Instead
for
of
you.
constantly being in a state of mind where I'm lacking.
Oh, woe is me.
You know, I
Yes.
don't
Right.
have anything. Look at that person. You know, when we get into the state of mind where we're always comparing ourselves to other people.
And always having a
there's
pity
someone who's
party.
always going to have more than you. There's always going to be someone who seems to be happier than you are, or something like that. You know, I think that it's really focusing on the relationship to yourself. You know thyself, which
Yeah.
is, you know, one of the most, I think, important things that you can do on the spiritual path. You know, and it comes from recognizing everything that's happening, because it's all coming from that present moment. You know, everything that you are, everything that you do. You know, like every moment that you're interacting, every moment that you're alive, like that's your art. You know, for me, I'm an artist and I create art, but also I think of life in the way that I live my life as my art as well. You know, every moment we're creating. And I think that the more that we can come from that place and just to be thankful for the gift to be able to create and be thankful for the gifts that we have. And everybody's a universe.
Attitude of gratitude.
In and of themselves, yeah. And to be thankful for the package that you got and then being able to use it. Whether it's, you know, my friend, you know, he walks dogs and he's amazingly happy. You know, at first he was like,
Well, you know, dogs
yeah.
can make you happy too.
Yeah. I mean, at first
I love
he was
dogs.
just like, I clean, poop, and pee all day long, you know. But you know, at the same time,
he's got clients that appreciate it.
yeah. Well, he just realized this. Wow, this is an amazing learning opportunity. I can learn from these dogs. You know, I can see how they interact with each other, how they interact with me, and then it turned into this whole different thing. It turned into, you know, a school that he actually wanted to be a part of.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that that's another thing that we need to understand is that we're in a school. We're in a universal
That's
school.
right.
We're all
We're
here to learn. You know, every experience that we have can be a learning experience.
That's right.
You know, an
You can
opportunity.
always ask yourself the question, what do I have to learn from this experience?
Like an opportunity to evolve, to
Yes.
reach our potential, and just to come back to that. I don't know, most important thing to me, just coming from a place of love.
Yes.
You know, because when you love yourself, you know, and you love, you know, the life and the opportunity that you've been given, things don't seem so bad.
That's true.
And it's easier to love yourself if you get, you know, we get caught up in whatever. Doesn't matter what it is. We all get caught up in something.
Right.
But it's easier to love yourself if you take a breath
Yes.
and realize everything is okay right now.
Yeah.
I have everything that I need right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like even the bill that you think you can't pay and then the electricity is going to get shut off, that's not right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right now the electricity is on.
And even if it's off, you know, like I can stay warm, I can put more layers on or go visit my friend or I don't know. There's other ways to look at every
Other
situation that we find ourselves in and to always bring ourselves back to the present moment and use the breath and focus, center ourselves and realize everything is okay.
I'd advise everyone, the moment they wake up, to drink a glass of water, take a deep breath, and thank and be in gratitude that you're alive today.
Now, when we say being in gratitude, for our audience, we are being in gratitude toward our Supreme Being, as whatever we conceive our God to be.
Yes.
Thankful for our
whatever
life.
the concept of God is, whatever you call Him,
Yes.
but just thankful that you're alive today and witnessing what's this.
I don't even
This
think that you need to
transitional.
believe in God to be thankful.
Yeah.
Well, true, but I mean, there's got to be something to be thankful to.
But you just be thankful.
Well, I'm thankful
I'm
to you for having us on the show.
Yes.
Well,
You know,
yeah.
I'm thankful for our friend here for bringing us some water before the show. You know what I mean? Like I'm thankful.
yeah.
I'm thankful for everything.
I see what you're saying.
You know, I'm thankful for the when there's food in front of me.
Yes.
When I have food in front of me, I'm thankful to the thousands of people's hands that food went through to get to that plate.
Right.
You know, unless it comes from my local farm, and then I know my farmer, and it just came through
Then
his
it's only
hands.
one hand, right?
But I'm still thankful. You know, I'm thankful
Sure.
for the soil. I'm thankful for the sunlight that grew the food. You know what I mean?
Thankful for the fact that you have it. But yeah, I guess, yeah, well, we can be thankful to each other, and we can also be thankful to God, and you have to believe in something that's greater than we are, and be thankful to whoever that might be, you know, and so, you know, an attitude of gratitude is definitely important, and I think it takes you far. It takes you, because when you're grateful for what you do have, as you all were saying, I agree, that when you're grateful for what you do have, you can attract more.
Yes.
You can believe that more is coming, and it does.
Yes.
There's always more.
There's always more to share, right?
Yeah. That's one of the things that I think is so humbling for me, is that, you know, as you go along, you know, on a spiritual path, you have all these questions, and, you know, you actually begin to get some answers
Yeah.
as you go along. But at the same time, as you turn on lights, you know, within this darkness, you realize how deep the darkness goes, you know. But really, you know, not darkness in a negative sense, but just like, wow, there's so much mystery. There's so much more to life than I thought there was. I thought it was just all scientific and, you know, this is the answer and it's all set, don't worry about it. But really, we're just experiencing a small piece of, you know, the giant mystery of what this experience is.
You're absolutely right. And on that note, I would like to thank you all. I am grateful that you guys came here tonight and did this very interesting show with me. It was really, I mean, you know, really great, and I'm sure that our audience has enjoyed it too. And I want to, as I said, say thank you, and have a good evening, and everyone have a good night.